Hello, everyone, leaders and guests. My name is Gilda Schla, and it's my privilege to be the presiding Toastmaster for this meeting. Our club mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Our leadership statement. Leadership speak is the... Can we unmute, please? Zoom Master? Thank you. Leadership statement. Leadership Speak is the premium club for experienced Toastmasters to become better, self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club, focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. And our Toastmaster of the day is Brahm. Every great meeting begins with a leader who can do more than just keep the agenda moving. A Toastmaster of the day creates the experience, establishes the standard, and connects every element of the meeting into a purposeful journey. Today's theme is legacy leadership. Is a fitting way to begin a new Toastmasters year. Legacy is not something we have behind one day. It's something we build through every decision we make, every commitment we honor, every person we develop, and every standard we refuse to compromise. Brahm is the founder of Leadership Speak and serves as the keeper of the vision. His passion in developing leaders who lead with intention, service, and excellence, and connection. Under his guidance, Leadership Speak has become recognized as the world premium advanced Toastmaster club, setting benchmark for leadership development and speaking excellence. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Brahm. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Presiding Toastmaster, Madam Presiding Toastmaster Gilda Schla. Thank you very much for that introduction. Leadership Speak has existed for just over 4 years. We charted on February the 17th, 2022. With this mandate, this is an advanced Toastmasters club, and as an advanced Toastmasters club, it's a very specialty club focused on a certain aspect of development. And this is what we are focused on. This is our mandate. Every member in this club is aligned or is becoming more aligned to this mandate that we have for the club. It's not an easy mandate, of course, and members and guests who come here lean into it and see what it means. So today, we're going to expand more on self-directed leader into what we call legacy leadership, which is our theme for this meeting. Now, before this meeting, I had requested everyone in the chat, in WhatsApp, do not rename yourself. There's a reason for it. When you come here with no titles, with not saying anyone is the president, or I'm the VP of Education, or I'm the grammarian, or there are no titles, there's no DTM, nothing. So we live in the hierarchy of anything and role playing and now become present. I'm Brahm Memone, and that's Gilda Shla. Even though I did say presiding Toastmaster, which is her role, but she is Gilda Shla. And you will see many people come here and bring their presence and either speak or provide something to this meeting that will be of great service with excellence so that we can connect, lean in, and learn to be better self-directed leaders. When we do that, we leave behind a footprint and a handprint behind us. It is not what you are becoming or doing, it's what you have left behind. That's very, very important. What you leave behind is the most important thing that you can ever do, because you will move on, you will progress, and then eventually we perish. Natural cycle of life. But what have you done to the planet? What have you done to the people? And so we need to think in those terms. My education speaker that I've been collaborating with will speak more on that, and I have no idea what she's going to say. I'm really looking forward to that. I will be introducing to her shortly. So when people say, buckle up your seats and let's take off, I say unbuckle your seats and let's take off. Open your minds and let's take off. Let's see what sort of legacy this year we are going to create, because this year is very, very important in any organization, in any club, whether it will survive and keep thriving or it will flounder, flourish or flounder. And this is the defining year for Leadership Speak. Like every other organization, in the fifth year, things begin to happen. And what will they do with that fifth year? Will they start being permanently up there or keep going like a yo-yo? So this year, this is our my main focus and the club's focus and every member's focus, actually. We have created a special team called Presidential Team where people are focused mainly on legacy. This is a new year, new Toastmasters year. This is the very first meeting. Now, we may have changed the calendar and turned the page over in the calendar. But what are we really doing here is make sure that our standards are the same. We do not change the process that has worked. We learn the process, why we do what we do here and what we are teaching others, and why we have so many guests join us every time. If I'm looking at my screen correctly, I see that there's 42 people in this meeting, of which not everyone is a member, right? So perhaps we have about 22, 24 members here, and the rest are guests, which means there's about at least 18 to 20 guests. Now, that is a big number for any club to have, because every meeting, everything that we do here, every speech, every role, every evaluation, every conversation builds to being a self-directed leader. But also today and going forth this year, we are building a legacy with everything that we are doing here. And it's not for ourselves. I'm not here for me. I'm here to provide something as a service to you. So dear guests, do lean in. I know you always do. Most of you have coming back, and I've seen the guests. Many of you have come here many, many times before. If you have come here for the first time, please raise your hand. Let's have a look and see who. You can raise your virtual hand. Let's see who's here for the first time as a guest. Great. As you can see from the screen, not many, if at all, if they are, of course, present here. I'm also looking at the screen, and we have also couple of past members who have joined today, which is a great sign that perhaps, Madam Presiding Toastmaster, they might rejoin. As you can see, one member already had joined. Francois, I don't know if she's on the screen here today. So, legacy is very, very important. That's what we are building. And I can see Irfan Faruqi here as well. Irfan, thank you. Despite what's happening in your family, you are here. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad to see Fabian here, and so on. And of course, not to forget, can you smell the doorman's coffee? I got my 2 packets of Dorman's coffee yesterday, all delivered from Nairobi. Now, I'm not supposed to be saying that in this meeting, am I? Of course I am. I can. So, thank you, Rozy, for that. Now, legacy is really misunderstood. It is about something that we are doing. It's our role. I'm the president. I'm this. I'm that. That is not legacy. Of course, as I've said before, legacy. Again, I want to repeat this. It is so important, ladies and gentlemen. Legacy is built through service. How we serve, the level of service that we provide, which means building a community. That is service through excellence. The standards that we keep, like Messi, like Mbappe. Hey, Ray. Messi, where's Ray? Where's Ray? Hey, Ray, isn't that high standards for Messi? What standards does he keep, Messi?
Messi, GOAT.
Right, my friend, right. The courage to be on the field and do it, right? And Ronaldo, 40 years old, over, still on the field. Wow. Thank you, Ray. So, he's a football fan. For those who don't know what football is, it's soccer, by the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, this, by the way, is a premier club. Our presiding Toastmaster Premium is actually Premier Club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. Which means every one of us has a responsibility. Every one of you here on the screen has a responsibility to make sure that you're moving forward and becoming better self-directed leaders. You're not simply participating as a role and performing a role, and then you're saying, am I going to do my role well? And I'm nervous, and this is a high premier club, and so I'm nervous. Am I going to? That will defeat the purpose. Every member here and every guest here should just relax. Relax. Take a breath. Relax and do what you can. A baby, when it starts to walk, you all know the story. Of course, you know what I'm going to say, right? It stands up, takes a step, falls down. It stands up, takes a step, falls down. I made a mistake. I'm sorry, and does have excuse it. Mom, sorry. I should have taken better steps. I know. And gives the story. No, does he? You're all babies as far as self-directed leadership is concerned. Why am I saying that? Is because you were never taught how to take charge of your life. You were never taught how to design your life. You were never taught to use the calendar well. You were never taught how to keep commitments and follow through. Simple etiquette, right? Nothing to do with Toastmasters, but you were not taught that. That's alone what we teach here to become self-directed. So this year, make sure that you focus on your commitments, using your calendar well, making sure that you do what you need to do. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are the international president of Toastmasters, you could be the president of the world, I don't care, but the etiquette should be present, right? If it's not present, nothing happens. Like, things break down very quickly. And that's how we'll leave behind legacy. Right? That's how legacies are built. So let's begin, ladies and gentlemen, with this meeting. I would first like to, of course, talk to the guests briefly. I've already said raise your hand. Nobody raised their hand. So let me just check my gallery screen view again to see how many guests we have now. And since my cataract surgery, I need some glasses to read, Sandra. So there you go. Now I look like Sandra. Okay, so let's see now. We have 44 and the count is going up. That's amazing. We even have Sashini Stone from the Caribbean, I believe Jamaica, join us today again. We want you to be a member, Sashini. So good to see Yvonne Codrington. Oh, even Jennifer Ferguson is here. Wow. Thank you. Okay, good. So, ladies and gentlemen, our presiding Toastmaster is going to be speaking to you, all you guests, at the end. Remain here. We would love to talk to you. In the meantime, I would ask the person in charge of posting, and today I don't know who it is, so I will apologize for that. There's one thing, see, I'm learning, is who is posting the guest book in the chat. And let me see if it's being posted. And today it is Arona So. Arona, wow, thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, okay, there's some, I'm just looking at the guest book. Just bear with me a second. So now, dear guests, I'm so glad that you are here. And you are here to learn something new, something different, expand your horizons. And if you click the guest book link and put in your name and your details, either for follow-up or just because, this is what you are here for, right? To announce that you are here and you've been here. So let us know that you've been here and sign up a guest book. It will also ask you to if you want to be a member of Leadership Speak, you can say no, yes, whichever you want. Hopefully most of you will say yes eventually. And of course, the presiding Toastmaster will take over at the end and talk to you depending on what you've written in there or not. So thank you very much. Now that we've welcomed our guests, and if I would ask that the presiding Toastmaster look at the guest book on an ongoing basis, because you will be looking at what's going on at the end with this guest, right? We have certain people, of course, we do have role players, we do play roles, but we are not defined by our roles at all, zero definition. We are here to be providing service to everyone. So if I am the Toastmaster of the day, I'm providing service to 40, oh, the number's going quickly up. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? I need my glasses again. 48. Woohoo! Sandra, what did you do to that? Yes. All right. So it's like, helium gas. It's like this is just rising. Maybe it's a soccer fever. There's no game going on right now. So, okay, they're all here now. If it was like 3 p.m., everyone would be in the soccer stadium. Last night, I went to a restaurant. Empty. Just like, I thought that would be full of soccer fans, and it was empty. So, our role players. I'm checking my agenda over here, and my first role player is going to be, of course, somebody who's going to be raising the toast. So I'd like to invite Rashmi Udeshi here. Rashmi. Hang a second. Before we do that, Mr. Zoom Master, thank you very much. Thank you. See, on the queue, we're all learning. So now, Rashmi, tell me about legacy leadership. What do you think it means to you?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Brahm. Legacy leadership is about leadership, which after the tenure leaves an impact that takes us long way about the people, the structure, and the culture. And that's legacy, which is to be remembered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Today, of course, in Leadership Speak, we raise a toast, and it's raised in a certain manner. And it is, of course, a level 3 elective in Pathways. So actually, Rashmi is doing a level 3 elective. There's two speeches that you do in that one elective, because they're the short speeches, and this is one of them, is raising a toast. Ladies and gentlemen, over to you, Rashmi Udeshi.
Dear fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests, legacy is something that we leave behind. As we walk along the path, we create moments and stories that inspire others. It shapes what we empower others, the leaders and mentors we develop, the words of encouragement we give, and that shapes how we create legacy, the impact that's created by the leaders. It's not about the awards or the title, but the voices that keep others inspiring. I reflected on my journey as club president of the Toastmasters Club and thought, what is the legacy I would like to leave? And for me, this was Dare, Elevate, Shine. This is not just a theme, it's the way of our thinking. Dare, from fear to courage we grow. Elevate, from good to great we go. And shine, from learner to leader we transform. And this, I wanted to cherish it in a way that's remembered. And we created, inspired by this, we created Dare, Elevate, Shine, the voice of the Toastmaster, our quarterly magazine. It captures and honors our members' stories of inspiration, growth, mentorship, leadership within the club and beyond the club. And when new members come in, it is not that they will remember always the precedents that served, but if they can be inspired and take the stories, the culture, the commitment of growth and togetherness from this, that is the legacy that inspires, and that is the legacy we leave behind. And today, as we move on to new leadership, and we urge all opportunities to members to grow, to celebrate them, and to give them voice and empower them. And for this, let's all not be the voice only, but we empower our members in future to dare, elevate, and shine. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I now request you to unmute your microphones, turn on your cameras, and raise your glasses. To legacy leadership.
Legacy leadership. Cheers.
Legacy
Over
leadership.
to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Brahm.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Toastmaster. I hope you're not having wine over there, but if you are, it's fine too. Now, we heard
Cheers.
Rashmi Udeshi mention that she talked about, of course, exactly what we were talking about earlier, is legacy is not about titles and status and so on, but it is the footprint, the impact that you live behind, being the difference that you be the difference. And then she told us a great little story about her own experiences in Dar Toastmasters Club. Now, if you look up on the dashboard, and you all know what the dashboard is, you are Toastmasters. If you're not, consult your VP of Education. They will let you know. On the dashboard, if you look up Dar Toastmasters, which is in Tanzania, where Rashmi comes from, she's in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam right now. That club has done extremely well in the previous year. And so congratulations, Rashmi, you really do walk your talk. And in fact, there's, I think, 4 members from Dar Toastmasters Club on this screen right now. Rashmi Udeshi, Atul Varanasi, and of course 2 new members, Liam Minja and Sajida Master, are right here on the screen from Dar Toastmasters Club. And why are they here from Dar Toastmasters Club is they want to expand their horizons and learn what they are learning from here and take it to their club and even get even better at what they do. And they have been. And that's why they have become such a successful club. And I'm not taking all the credit, of course, because of us, but there's something in this club that draws people. And Atul, on a constant basis, is recommending members from District 114 to join here. And quite a number of members are beginning to join. And of course, the Dar Toastmasters here is all Atul's recommendations, by the way. So Atul, thank you very much. Now, the role players. They're not playing roles, but they are role players anyways. And our timer is going to be, she's going to explain what the timer is, with presence and being here, and of course leaving a legacy behind with what she's doing, small role as it may be. but very important. Small in terms of she'll be in the background most of the time. Nelly Ayodo, can you please come here and let's have a talk. Nelly, what does legacy leadership mean to you?
Legacy leadership means leaving an impact, influencing others, and the impact you leave behind after you have influenced them.
Wonderful. Over to you, what you're going to be doing today.
Good day, fellow Toastmasters. Today, my role is of the timer. I will time each speaker according to the agenda and signal using virtual background colors of green, yellow, red. After each segment, I'll post the timing results in the chat. Back to you, Brahm.
Thank you very much, Nelly. The next person that I'd like to call on, oh, by the way, Nelly Ayodo is from Kenya, and she lives in Nairobi. So, and I studied in Nairobi. I was born in Kenya. So, asante sana, Nelly. Next is our grammarian, Ghada Almorjarkish. Now, I've some nothing very exciting about Ghada. Why? She's only 5 miles from where I live. So she lives in Canada in Oakville, but the exciting thing is what she does out in the real world. And when I talk about what she does in the real world, she says, "Oh, don't embarrass me." But I say, own it. Be the owner of what you do in the real world, and be the owner here. It's the same thing. There are no sort of compartmentalized. Like you can show ownership here, or ownership in your business, but not here, or here and not in. It's the same thing. So it's ownership everywhere, right? And stewardship. And so I'm relying on you, my dear, this year to be a prominent leader in this club. Over to you, Vada.
So you didn't ask me about legacy leadership. What does it mean to me? But I'll answer this question. Legacy leadership lights the path before others trust their own steps, and plants belief before they find it in themselves. Thank you. Now, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, as a grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. Also, as a grammarian, it's my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is stewardship. It's a noun and means the position, a duty, or act of taking care of something that belongs to or affects others. Example, his stewardship to the team, transformed it into legacy of excellence. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I'll give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Also, I'll post this word in the chat box. Thank you. Back to you, Brahm.
Thank you, Gada. And thank you for telling us what legacy leadership really means to you. And I did miss out on asking you that question, getting very excited about your presence here, because you are a great leader. It's such a pleasure to have you in this meeting. Okay. We have done the functionary roles, and now we're going to go to speaking, the actual educational speaker. Every meeting in Leadership Speak has an educational speaker. I collaborated with the educational speaker, Nelly Jane Galido, who's in Philippines right now, and it is 10 p.m. her local time. And I collaborated with her to create this theme for this meeting. Every Toastmaster of the day and every education speaker collaborate and get together to create the theme of the day, and then they write 150-word content for social media to be posted as well. Now you see the difference that we have between an advanced club and a community club. Also, our themes are always based on a leadership principle. We don't have themes like, oh, it's a summer, nice hot day, or it's a spring or tulip day, or whatever, or eat a sandwich day. No, those are not leadership-based themes. So today is legacy leadership, and if you can please spotlight Nelly Jane Galido. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Nelly Jane Galido is the Vice President of Education in Leadership Speak. And this year, she's going to be taking a more prominent role than what a VP of Education does. She will be, because I'll be invisible, and she will be more visible in my shoes than anybody else. Right, Nelly Jane? Visibility?
Yep. Yes, Brahm, definitely.
And now, what does, I know you're going to talk extensively on legacy leadership, but what does it mean briefly in one line for you?
In one line, being the person you once needed.
Say that again.
Being the person you once needed.
Perfect. And we'll hear more about it as we go along. Now, we have an evaluator for Nelly Jane, and her evaluator is Jyoti Thomas. And Jyoti is all the way from Chennai, where it is, I believe it is 8 o'clock, I believe, or something like that. Or 7:30, I don't know, in that
7:30.
range somewhere. 7:30.
7:30.
Took me a second to come up with the right one, but I'm good there. So, Jyoti, tell us, what will Nelly Jane be doing today?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. Today, our educational speaker, Nelly Jane, is presenting from the path Visionary Communication. Prepare to speak professionally, which is level 5. The purpose of the speech, which Nelly will be delivering, is to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. Today, it will be a keynote style exemplifying a professional level speaker's point of view. I will also be observing, as she has requested, the pace, pauses, and framing. May I request the timer to make note? It's 18 to 22 minutes. Over to the Toastmaster. Thank you.
Shukriya. Thank you very much, Jyoti. Nelly Jane Galido, Legacy Leadership, Nelly Jane Galido.
Good day, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, my fellow leaders. 5 years from today, imagine that someone is speaking exactly where I am now. They might be sharing their leadership journey, speaking with confidence, inspiring others to grow. And as they tell their story, they begin mentioning the people who shaped their journey. Would your name be part of their story? Not because you were the president, the VP, or any other roles, any other position you have. Not because you delivered an outstanding speech, but because somewhere along the way, you encouraged them, you challenged them, you believed in them, or maybe simply gave them a chance when they needed it the most. Because you helped someone become the leader they are today. Take a moment and think about that, because whether we realize it or not, every one of us is already writing someone else's leadership story. But the question is, what kind of story are we helping them to write? Fellow leaders, when I first heard about the word legacy, the first thought is about the end of a journey, a retirement, a completion of a successful term, or perhaps the day someone steps out from leadership. I first imagine legacy as something we leave behind. But somewhere along my leadership journey, I realized I had been looking at legacy the wrong way. Because the truth is, legacy is not something you leave behind someday. It's also something you build as you lead today. Every conversation, every opportunity you create, every piece of feedback you give, every person you choose to encourage, every decision you make, you are building legacy. Yes, brick by brick, you are building legacy. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but today. And perhaps the simplest way to begin that legacy is becoming the person you once needed. The mentor you once wished the earth. The encourager you once hoped you met. The leader who saw something on you before you could even see it yourself. Because when we become the person we once needed, our legacy begins. And as we begin the new Toastmasters year, my fellow Toastmaster, many of us naturally think about our goals. We have our speeches, our pathways, leadership roles. Yes, those matters. But perhaps there's a greater question that I want you to think. Who will become a better leader because I was here? Because leadership is really not measured by the number of roles we accept. It is measured by the number of people we help to rise. I want to ask you something. How many of you remember your very first Toastmasters meeting, or perhaps your very first leadership speak meeting? Can you raise your hand? Thank you so much. You can see that. Perhaps during that time, what did you feel? Were you nervous? Were you unsure? Were you wondering if you belong? Maybe that time your heart was racing when someone asked if you'd like to take a role, or maybe you thought, I don't think I'm ready. Now, I want you to think about this. Beside those feelings, there is someone who believed you were ready, someone who invited you, someone who encouraged you, someone who made you feel welcome. And without realizing it, they become part of your journey. I know exactly how that feels. When I first joined Leadership Speak, I wasn't thinking about taking positions, becoming the VP Ed, anything much. I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about being an educational speaker, speaking for 20 minutes, 20 to 22, or mentoring members. I was just thinking to become a better speaker. Just want to learn how to talk, to gain confidence, to be able to talk to more than 5 people, just 5 people. Like many other people, I questioned myself too. I keep on asking, was I good enough? Will people even listen to me? Would I ever become confident speaker in front of others? And the truth is, confidence didn't suddenly appear in one setting, in one morning, in one meeting. It was built one opportunity at a time, one evaluation at a time, one conversation at a time. Leaders in this club makes me grow. They celebrated my progress, no matter how small. They told me what to do next in my next speech. How can I improve? Most importantly, they saw potential in me before I could see it myself. So today, as I stand before you at this platform, I realize something profound. I am standing here on someone else's legacy. The opportunities they created became the opportunities I received. The encouragement they gave became the confidence I carry today. That realization changed the way I see leadership. Leadership is not about being the person everyone remembers. It is also about becoming the reason that someone else discover what they are capable of. There's an old saying, fellow Toastmasters. A society grows great leaders when people plant trees whose shade they know will never stick under. And I love that line because legacy leadership is exactly like that. It is planting seeds whose harvest may belong to someone else. Imagine planting a rose garden. You prepare for the soil, you water it, you plant each rose with care. You water it again, you prune it, you protect it through the scorching days and heavy rains. You patiently nurture it, knowing that, yes, growth takes time. But before those roses bloom in all their beauty, your journey takes you elsewhere. But someone else walks through your garden. Someone else pauses and admires the blossoms of the flowers. Someone else breathes the fragrance. Someone else lives inspired by the beauty you help create. Did your work matter? Without a question, yes. Because leadership is not measured by the flowers we personally get to admire. It is measured by the garden we cultivate for others to enjoy. That is stewardship, and that is also legacy. Sometimes we are not called to witness the bloom. Sometimes we are simply called to prepare the soil, plant the seeds, and faithfully care for them, trusting that one day someone else will experience the beauty because we chose to begin. As the VP of Ed, I could focus only to I could not focus only to agendas, the schedules, the pathways, the meeting rules. Yes, those responsibilities are important, but they are not the mission of this world. The mission is the people, because our greatest achievement is not completing the agenda. Our greatest achievement is watching a member once feared public speaking confidently mentor another member, becoming a self-directed leader. Our greatest achievement is seeing today's guest, yes, I'm talking to you guest, become tomorrow's better self-directed leader. Our greatest achievement is multiplying confidence. That is legacy. I'd like to invite everyone to participate with me one more time. Now, think of a person in this club, maybe a past member or a current member. Think of a person, just one person who encouraged you. Just picture them out. You don't have to say their name, just picture them up in your mind. Now, I want you to think of one newer member or a member you don't usually talk to. Just think of that. Maybe someone who may be wondering where they belong, whether they belong here. Or what could I do here? And here's my challenge. Become for them what that someone once became for you. We think legacy requires extraordinary moments. Nope, 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 nope. It doesn't. Legacy is often hidden inside the ordinary choices we make every single day. Replying to a message, inviting someone to take the role, giving thoughtful feedback, checking a guest, checking on someone after the meeting. The smallest act of encouragement today may become someone else's greatest turning point tomorrow. So, as we begin this new Toastmasters year, I hope we don't simply ask, what will I accomplish? Is it how many pathways should I take? How many speeches should I deliver? Instead, let's also ask, who will I encourage? Who will I develop? Who will become more confident because I decided to invest in them. Because one day, our terms will end. Our titles will disappear from the agenda, and that is perfectly fine. Because leadership was never meant to last forever. Legacy was. So let us build more than successful meetings. Let us build confident speakers. Let us build courageous leaders. Let us build a culture where every person who walks through the Zoom room leaves believing a little more in themselves. Fellow Toastmaster, I like to end where we began. 5 years from now, another member will deliver their educational speech like I am doing. Another person will be on this leadership speak stage. They will share how the club and the Toastmasters changed their life. And that story is already been written. The question is, will you be part of it? And what part will you play in it? Will you become the person who welcomes someone when they felt they didn't belong? Will you be the person who encouraged someone's very first speech here in Leadership Speak? Will you be the mentor who saw potential in a member before they even saw it in themselves? Or will you simply watch someone else's story unfold? So today, I want to leave you with a challenge. Don't wait until you're elected as a president. Don't wait any other positions. Don't wait until you've become an accomplished speaker. Don't wait until you think you have experience enough. Start building your legacy today. Before our next meeting, I encourage you to encourage one person. Create one opportunity for them, message them, greet them. Believe in one person who doesn't yet believe in themselves. Practice stewardship in one simple intentional act, and above all, become the person you once needed. Become the person you once needed. Someone did that for you, I'm sure, because someone did that for me. Now, it's our turn, it's your turn, it's my turn to do it for someone else. Don't let your leadership ends with you. Pass it on, multiply it. Leave this club stronger than you found it. Leave people more confident than you meet them. And that is legacy leadership. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful presentation. Of course, I'm going to something very important that our speaker said, right? Legacy is not something you leave behind someday. It is something you build as you lead today. What an incredible statement. Nelly Jane, I'm totally inspired by your presentation. I know that you are going to lead this club very well in this current year as a VP of Education and standing in for me as well. Thank you. I know I put you on the hook, right, for standing in for me, but that's what it is. I'll do my best to coach and mentor everyone here from behind the scenes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next presentation. We now go on to the speakers. And all the speakers as well, of course, are club officers. The members of this club have voted these people in to lead them to become better self-directed leaders and to leave behind a legacy. And I will call each one of them in turn to do their presentation. I have no idea what they're going to be saying. Our first speaker is Lydiah Wanjiku. Lydiah, habari yako?
Mzuri sana, Brahm.
Now, legacy leaders. What does it mean to you?
What it means to me, it means being a leader with your leadership skills that when you leave a place, you'll be felt because of the leadership that you left behind.
Wonderful. Lydiah, of course, comes from Nairobi as well, Kenya, same country as me. Actually, there's 5 people on the executive team, all from Kenya. Surprising this year. And her evaluator today is going to be Helene Hamok, who lives in Mexico but originates from Vietnam. Helene, over to you. What are you going to be doing today?
Thank you very much. Today, our speaker, Lydiah, her purpose of this project is for the member to begin developing a collection of humorous stories and to present a speech that included humor. And her speech lasts 5 to 7 minutes. And Lydiah tell me to pay attention about clear message and vocal variety and humorous in my evaluation. So back to you, Brahm.
Thank you very much. And I'm really looking forward to this presentation by Lydiah, our Vice President of Membership. Ladies and gentlemen, Lydiah Wanjiku, The Hidden Power of Stories. The Hidden Power of Stories, Lydiah Wanjiku.
Let's all take 1 second to reflect when you are growing up as children. Can you remember a phrase or some words that you could hear? And once you hear them, you stop what you're doing. If you're playing, you stop playing and you concentrate without undivided attention. As you are thinking, let me tell you my story. When I was growing up, I used to hear these 4 words: once upon a time. Anyone who had similar words? Just show with an emoji. Once upon a time. Anybody who had those 4? Aha. Wahiga. Thank you. Kasi Wahiga. I can see Brahm. Thank you very much. So I'm not alone. And even at that particular time, I could sit down, listen to the stories. And there was a lot that I could unpack from that story. We used to learn, even in school. I remember we had a classmate who used to like giving stories. So what normally he used to do, when we have those sessions for storytelling, he was very alert. And at that particular time, no one used to sleep at all, because stories, they tell you a lot. The power of unhidden stories. As we grew up, life started changing. In our professional world, we were told, talk about data, analytical data, presentations. So we had to put aside the stories, because now, even in organizations, when they have some changes in the organizations, what they normally do, they talk about data. They say, we need to work more so that our organization can double the profit to 100 or 95 to 100. Or workforce is going to go down from 50% to 20%. Now it's data. But still, we have a lot to learn from the stories. Some 2 years back, an organization went to Kajiado, that is in Kenya, and they saw women walking 5 kilometers to go and fetch water. They looked at it, they said, no, we need to do something. They came up with a fantastic budget. Then they went, they drilled water, very nice borehole, put the tanks nicely, and very nice taps, and they even fenced the place. It was a beautiful place. After 6 months, they went there. It was still the way they left it. No one had gone to use that water. The women were still comfortable walking some 5 kilometers. Then one of the fine days when you were having interagency meeting, that organization talked about it. Coincidentally, I had a research I was doing in that area. So I went with my team. Then we found one lady just preparing to call the others so that they can go to fetch water the 5 kilometers. I introduced myself. Hi, how are you? I'm Lydia. And what is your name? Tekla? Oh, Tekla, I see you have a very good project here for water. Yeah. It is very good. We appreciate it, but we don't go there at all. Why you don't go there? Oh, no. For me, when I walk with my neighbors, 5 kilometers, we talk a lot. We share a lot. And each and every one of us has a story to tell. One will say, I was beaten last night. The other one, I was locked outside. As they say, women have a problem without a name. I'm sure women here can relate. If you can relate with me, please, let me see an emoji, women. Thank you. We have a problem that doesn't have a name. So when we share that problem without a name, they are very good stories whereby now it was a problem last night. But when we share, we are all laughing, because that is therapy for us. And that way they continue living, and that is how their mothers lived, and then they continue living like that. So what did we learn from that? We learned what the organization should have done. Should have gone first on the ground, talk to the women, find out what was their need. By listening to their stories, they would have come up with a better solution. Maybe they needed counselors to talk to them. Maybe they needed wellness talk to talk to both the men and the women. So that way, we were told they collected the story, they will not have used that money they used for a fantastic project that was never used. Let me come back to Leadership Speak. We are now starting a new year. We are 4 days old. Now, what is that story that we will tell our new joiners so that they feel, they connect with Leadership Speak? Let us start by telling them we really had a very good session celebrating different diversity. Then the Men in Black, and we had International Women's Day. Talk about those stories to them so that when you're talking about a goat, they'll understand. They are not going to float. And as I talk about the goat, let me ask someone just to type the meaning of the goat. Do we start telling so that they can be able to know what is this goat you're talking about? Stories tell a lot. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow. Amazing. Incredible, isn't it? And I'm not supposed to be saying those words. Wow, amazing, incredible, but I'm forced to say those words today. The reason being, did you hear that story about the women? It was so, because I come from Kenya, and I know how the rural areas work, and I had already, because I come from Kenya, I had already guessed why this project would fail, and it was exactly what Lydiah had said, confirmed it for me. Self-expression, being able to tell your stories to each other and having that conversation. 5 kilometers, perhaps that took, I don't know, 45 minutes each way, an hour each way, depending on the speed they were walking in, or maybe just over an hour. And they were able to have a conversation. And it was the daily routine that was unbreakable. And so here at Leadership Speak, or in any Toastmasters, because all of us here are Toastmasters, when you stand up to speak, it's a self-expression of who you are. It is lived here on the stage as a self-expression of what's really going on with your life, or your observations, or the way you see things, or something that you're passionate about. And it's expressing yourself here on stage and learning experientially. Experiential learning is critical. So what are you going to bring to your clubs if you're a guest, if you're going to be joining here, or if you're a member here? How will you tell your story and express yourself the way you ought to express yourself? Thank you. Dear guests, I see that Rana has been posting the link to the guest book in the chat. If you joined after I announced the guest book link is in the chat. Please go to the chat and click that link and tell us who you are and what brought you here today. And then the presiding Toastmaster at the end will speak to you at the end. My next speaker is our Vice President of Public Relations, Irene Sadia, and she is from Kenya. Irene, habari yako?
Zuri sana. Na
Tell us
wewe je?
all. Aya ni mzuri tu, nisikia mzuri hapo, lakini jasho ni moto sana. So we were just saying hello in Swahili. Irene, can you please tell us what you, in one sentence, think of legacy leadership?
Thank you very much. What I think about legacy leadership is building a culture that continues to inspire excellence for those who are coming after us and long after the leaders who created it are gone.
Wonderful. I love that. And your evaluator, Irene, is Robin Stone from South Africa. Robin, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, thanks.
Are you that rolling stone that gathers no moss?
Right now, I'm quite stuck, so I'm
Okay, right, good.
in the right place.
And what is Irene doing today?
Right, Irene is going to give us some more storytelling. She's speaking from the dynamic leadership path, and it's level 3, project 4, and this is connect with storytelling. And in the speech, Irene will be
Right.
practicing with her storytelling. Back to you, Brahm.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters members, Irene, Sadia. Can I? I can. Can I? I can. Irene, Sadia.
Beginning of a new Toastmasters year is usually filled with excitement. Congratulations, handovers, new officers stepping into new roles, and new ideas of hope of what lies ahead. From the outside, it's a season of confidence. But sometimes confidence is what people see. Let me tell you about someone, and I'll call her Izzy. As everyone celebrated, Izzy smiled, accepted the congratulations, thanked people for believing in her. But inside her stomach, there was a knot. Why? She had accepted a role that she didn't know where to begin. And many times she wondered, would it be easier to step away than staying on? One question echoed in her mind. Can I? Can I? And then she attended an event that changed everything. She listened as leaders shared not only their success stories, but also their uncertainty as they stepped into their leadership role. And she realized something very powerful. None of them started with confidence. They started with courage. And as Izzy shared her story, it felt so strangely familiar. Because Izzy was talking about me. I accepted this role, was excited until reality arrived. Every time I opened my notebook, it was blank. And every time I opened it again, it was blank. Where would I begin? How would I help people discover our club, what we do in this room week after week after week? And then help came my way. Members of this club, and I'll name two, Gerda and Ray, reminded me that leadership isn't about having all the answers on day one. No, it's about saying yes before you feel ready, trusting that you will grow into the role, and remembering that none of us leads alone. That reminder changed how I saw this opportunity. And so I know my responsibility isn't only to post on social media for the next 1 year, but it is to help build a culture where telling our club story becomes every member's responsibility. A culture that future leaders will inherit, will strengthen, and will proudly pass on. Because our story deserves to outlive every single one of us. I want to ask a question. How did you find about this club? Were you invited by a friend, a colleague, or by accident scrolling on your phone late in the night? Let me ask you another question. How many people in your life need exactly what you have found here? Yet, they've never heard of us, never heard of Leadership Speak. That gap is what public relations is about, the gap between our impact and the people who don't know we exist. It's not about social media, the flyers that go by, the likes, the followers, Public relations is about stewardship. And stewardship is protecting, celebrating, and sharing the story of our club so that the people who need it the most have the opportunity to find it. Let me paint a picture of what I see. Imagine with me 6 months from now, a year from today, a guest walks into our meeting because they've been following our stories. They've been following us online. A young professional joins because he's heard or she's heard how Toastmasters has changed somebody's life. Or a member invites a colleague, and that colleague becomes our next club officer. That's the club I see. A club where every ambassador, every member is an ambassador, and every story is an invitation, and every generation leaves it stronger than they found it. That is the legacy I want us to build together. I would ask, so how do we get there? We get there by sharing our real, authentic stories, building meaningful community, and giving our events visibility they deserve, and definitely celebrating our members along the way. Because what does recognition do? It builds culture, and culture builds legacy. And that is where people will stay. They stay where they're seen. They stay where their efforts are appreciated. And I know I cannot build that culture alone. Neither do I. Because I know the best stories don't belong to one person. They belong to all of us. And that is what I'm inviting each and every club member to build with me. So if you're good at writing stories, you're good at connecting, you're good at quickly picking up the things that are said in meetings, then you are the person that we are looking for. And you don't need experience. You simply need to believe that what we are doing here week after week is worth sharing. Because every story we tell becomes someone's reason to come into our meeting. I'd like to leave you with a thought. Have you ever asked yourself, can I? And then discovered that I can. So today, I'm asking you to answer that same question once more. Not for yourself, but for our club. Can we build a legacy where members become storytellers? Make sure that our club is found by those who need to find it. To create a club that is visible, inspiring, more inspiring than when we found it. I'll say it again. A club where every member is an ambassador. Every story becomes an invitation, and every generation leaves it stronger than they found it. I believe we can. So if there is anything I have shared today, and made you think, I could do that. Don't let that thought end with this meeting. Send me a message today, this week. Join the PR subcommittee. Bring your ideas, your talents, bring your story. And let's make this more than just social media presence. Let's build culture and legacy. I believe that when we build a culture that will inspire those who are coming after us, that will be legacy. Let's ensure that everyone who's still asking, can I? May our club help them discover, I can. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you. What a profound presentation. Something that Irene is actually going through herself. Irene took on the role of VP of PR, having no idea what it really means. So she's taken on something very big and she's beginning to grow into it. So that's real growth. She's struggling. Struggle creates growth. And I'm mentoring her in behind the scenes, what it means and what she needs to do. And she's building a great team. For example, Rashmi Udeshi from DAR Toastmasters is on her team. And DAR Toastmasters, Rashmi and Atul and their team create wonderful newsletters. And so I've told the team, see, we have the expertise, see how they can guide you into creating a newsletter. Now, we don't want to call it a newsletter. We don't want to call it a magazine. The PR team will decide with the executive team, and it will be for members' engagement as well as for ensuring that our guests get this magazine or whatever it's called as a tool for getting guests on board. So they can tell us about their stories, not only speaking here on screen, but also writing about what they've spoken about and telling us the background behind it. We'll see how it transpires. Thank you, Irene, very much. Wonderful. And I know the struggle you're going through. I'm there with you as a shadow. Our next speaker, Joyce Kibe. She works again from Nairobi, Kenya. Joyce, habari yako?
Nzuri, habari ya leo?
Mzuri tu hapo, ni jasho, ni moto sana.
Ole.
Asante. Tell us a little bit about what legacy leadership means to you.
So legacy to me means that what you want to be remembered for long when you're gone.
Okay, great, wonderful. And our evaluator today is Nicole Whyte. It's boring. Nicole Whyte is like 5 miles north of me. But it's not that boring. She's originally from Jamaica. Right, Nicole? Woohoo! And we are all vying for Messi, the GOAT.
The GOAT, of course.
What is Joyce going to be doing today?
Sure. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I have the pleasure of evaluating Joyce Kibe. She is delivering her speech from the Dynamic Leadership Path, Level 1, Writing a Speech with Purpose. The purpose of the project is for the member to learn or review basic methods of writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. We connected, of course. Beyond the speech objectives, Joyce asked me to pay close attention to the mechanics of the virtual stage, specifically her Zoom presence, camera eye contact, and the style of delivery. So my notebook is ready and I can't wait to see how she delivers. All the best, Joyce.
Thank you.
Joyce Kibe, The Hidden Power of Accountability. The Hidden Power of Accountability, Joyce Kibe.
Good day, Toastmasters and guests. Today, I want to speak about something that is very pertinent to my heart, the power of hidden accountability. The unfortunate thing is that when people hear about accountability, they think about blame or punishment. But today, I'm going to correct that. Accountability is the power of taking responsibility of our actions, decisions, and the results that come thereabout. It means that I, as a person, I am taking responsibility for something that I have done. The hidden power of accountability transforms intentions into actions. Picture this. At the beginning of the year, we all had our resolution. Some of us had a resolution to exercise more, to eat better, to do speeches more, to take more roles, and maybe by a show of hands, how many took a resolution this year? By a show of hands? Thank you. I also took a resolution. But have you ever thought that motivation may fade? But there is one thing that will keep you going: accountability. Again, I encourage you. Do you have an accountability partner who will keep checking? How many times have you gone for a run? How many times have you gone to the gym? Very important, because accountability keeps us moving forward. Another thing, accountability also builds trust. When you're a trusted person, then you're able to work with more people. Another thing about accountability is because when you're trusted, you do not brush off mistakes. You take ownership. And honestly, this builds credibility and also relationship. Accountability also forms part of personal growth. As a person, I have decided to ask the right questions. When you're at fault, I normally ask, who is not at fault, but what can I do better the next time? And this mindset is continuous growth. And when you fall, you just don't sit there, just stand up, dust yourself, and move forward, because you are an accountable person. People are watching out there, in families, in communities, and especially in this club. We are accountable people. Another aspect of accountability, it is building stronger teams. Picture this: when somebody is having a project, or we are having a project as an organization, we have people allocated to start the project, others in the middle, and at the end. When we come in to make our reports, we do not push blames here and there, but because we are accountable, solutions are brought up very fast. Decisions are made very fast, because accountability keeps us on check. And in all that, we are able to move, and less time is used in making excuses of what worked and what did not work. Most importantly, to remember, accountability gives us control of our lives. I know we might not be able to control every situation we face, but our response towards it is something that is in our power. Focusing on what we can do rather than what we cannot do. And thus, we are empowered to overcome every challenge and to bring a positive challenge. And as I conclude, accountability is not about becoming perfect. It's about having the courage to own our actions, to own our experiences, to own our mistakes, and ask ourselves, what are we doing about it? The power of accountability may be hidden, but its impact is outright there. It builds successful individuals, strong relationship, and effective organizations. Thus, accountability builds trust, growth, and success. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Accountability is indeed something that keeps us on our toes and makes sure that we do what we promised to deliver. I don't know about other organizations, but in Toastmasters and in Leadership Speak, when we say you are accountable and responsible member, or whatever role that you promised to do. It doesn't mean we're going to blame you, whatever. We want you to see you learn quickly and move forward and become better self-directed leader. And that is accountability and responsibility. We don't expect you to know everything. And there are no mistakes, only learning experiences, just like a baby is walking. Thank you, Joyce Kibe, for that wonderful message. Timely message as well for today. My next speaker is, oh, and by the way, Joyce Kibe is the club treasurer. Our next speaker is Wahiga Gichinga as well from Kenya. Wahiga, habari yako?
Niko salama, labda wewe.
Ni mzuri tu. Mambo ni mzuri.
Okay.
Now, tell us all about legacy leadership. What it means to you.
For me, legacy leadership is working myself out of a job by creating leaders who can do a better job than I do.
Whoa. Wow. Thank you. Absolutely. I love it. And her evaluator is somebody else from Kenya, Rozy Rana, the coffee lady. Rozy, thank you for those 2 packets of gourmet coffee.
Most welcome, Brahm, and I hope you truly enjoy them.
A bit in Swahili, habari yako leo?
Niko salama, Brahm. Na wewe?
Ni mzuri tu. Mambo mzuri.
Hapo fit, tunasemanga fit.
Rozy, what you going to do for Wahiga today? What's she doing today?
Thank you, Brahm. Wahiga today is working on her persuasive influence path. She's in level 5, but today she's delivering from the Leadership Excellence series. This is a series or a set of presentations that discuss leadership and making one a stronger leader. Wahiga says to me that because these presentations come with scripts, and while she does modify them and adapt them, there are scripts, and today as she delivers, she wants to come across more natural despite the fact that there are things that are being read. I look forward to hearing Wahiga's presentation. Back to you, Brahm.
Thank you, Rozy. Wahiga Gichinga, the heart of leadership in service. The heart of leadership in service, Wahiga Gichinga.
I know we are all products of leadership in one form or another. And the leadership you have experienced is the leadership that you cherish. What has it impacted on you? What has it modeled in you? And could there be leadership that you don't cherish? I have many experiences in both divides. And at one point, I had both almost one experience. To let you in, I didn't choose my first leadership role at Toastmasters. I was a committee member under the treasurer on the treasurer role. Now, in the new year, after the first meeting, the treasurer called me and asked me to hold brief for him in the second meeting because he would be going for a business meeting in Uganda, a neighboring country, which I obliged. 9 years down the line, he hasn't come back from that trip. And that's how I found myself stepping into his shoes. But as fate would have it, I met a colleague in the EXCO who changed the narrative of who a leader should be or what a leader should do. Let's call her Mary. Mary, when the year began, gave us what her expectations were. When the club standards that need to be met, and to the DCP goals that we needed to meet as a club to maintain the position that we had in East Africa. She then asked each one of us to write goals. What goals do you want to meet? in Toastmasters in this year and at a personal level, either at your work or personal life. She then sent to us a workbook that had all meetings put together. And based on your goals, one was meant to slot themselves on the projects they're taking or the roles they're going to take to meet their personal goals. She then met with each one of us and she kept checking, have you slotted yourself? What you've picked, is it going to be adequate for you to meet your goals? For example, if you want to become an MC, then perhaps you need a bit more of TMOD roles. Or if you want to be a keynote speaker, you perhaps need to even participate in a contest. And so she set the standards from the word go. I can tell you that the agenda was usually locked 3 months down the line. But she didn't kick you out if you wanted to give a speech or take a role. She would get you a slot in the neighboring clubs. And that's how our club ended up supporting the clubs around us. What was also interesting is because she had plugged into the district, each time she had overall to be of value and connected to somebody who needed to meet a certain goal in the club, then she would plug them in for them to meet that goal. Now, that was a blessing in disguise, just after I had a nasty experience with another leader. Now, I remember Mary last month during a meeting, a training by Brahm on service and leadership, when he painted the picture of what service is not, and said leadership was service, expediency, ticking boxes, just doing the job, and service are in two different worlds. And today, I'll be discussing about service and leadership. And when I think about service and leadership, I remember Tom Peters, co-author of the book In Search of Excellence. He is a management consultant. And to him, the primary role of the leader is nurture and service. In fact, he believes that the true legacy of a leader is measured by the growth and success of the team members out there. Now, when we talk about service, and for a leader to be able to be of service to their team members, there's several things that are important. One is for a leader to know where they're going, what's their true north, what are the goals at date, what standards needs to be met on one hand. On the other hand, is to know their team members, not as a group, but each one of them. Who are they? Where are they coming from? Where are they going? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And could they have something in their bucket list that perhaps you could make? And this is not written on anybody's face, which means it takes the leader to take time with each one of them to understand each one of them. First is to see how they tie in into the big picture of the organization. And this is an exercise that reveals something: gaps in strengths, gaps in terms of the blind spots that could have come up, the weaknesses one of the team members had. And I think this establishment of gaps is the point of service. It is a point of leadership, because then do you throw everybody out, or do you work with them? Do you integrate them in a way that they work? And this is the point where a leader is tasked with sitting with the strengths that are available and helping each member in their team see themselves in the bigger picture of the organization. And what is interesting is when somebody can see themselves Yes, I'm at A, but I'm required to give service at a level B. That if I do A, B, C, D, then I can be able to be there. Then they get you buy in them into the vision. They want to come in. And this is where the leader determines, do I need to coach this person to up their strength? Do I need to train them? What is it I can do to be able, for this person to be able to work? So that way, you have given clear direction, not only of what the organization wants to do, but also of the member to work not only on the organizational goals, but also on their personal goals. And what is interesting is this: when each member of your team feels seen, heard, acknowledged, when they feel that you're championing for their success, when they see that you can see their future and you're trying to get them there, then when you put shared goals on the table, then nobody is competing with the other. Everybody wants to shine in their role. And so it is very easy for people to collaborate. Now, the organization is never the leader, nor the organization itself. It's the team. And when you have a team who sees themselves, who see their work in the organization as them working for their future, I bet that's more than a payoff at the end of the year. So because they are motivated not only to work for you, but to work for themselves. But there's something interesting. I mentioned about the gap. And sometimes the gap comes because there are blind spots or there are weaknesses with the team members. And this is a place where a second effort of leadership, of service, is required of the leader, because the leader is called off to put a ladder for the team members to walk over to the side of service. And what you do with the weaknesses, what you do with the blind spots, determines whether these team members will also unlock their goals, unlock their strengths, unlock their capabilities, free for you to use, depending on how you deal with these pets that they would rather hide. And it's a moment for empathy. It's a moment for listening. It's a moment for training. It's a moment of persuasion by reflecting to the team member what is possible. Should they turn around? Should they sweat? What could be the moment of letting a hand? A moment of perhaps sharing a story of where you've come from, for them to know, man, I'm not this bad. What this does, it creates safety, it creates trust. And if people can trust with what can likely bring shame, then you have the strengths with you for you to do what you want to do. Now, what is interesting is this: trust is the glue that holds the organization together. And I know perhaps you've had that, and it could sound like cliche, but I can tell you it's a reality. Because when you have created an environment where people trust, then it's very easy for people to participate, for people to share decisions, information about a decision you've made, for people to criticize, to share their expertise, to rescale them, to show something or do something that can be of value to the organization. Now, for an organization to function effectively, there is the blood that flows in and out of whichever direction of the organization. And that is possible by communication. I communicate in the vision, the goals, the studies, and do you have capacity to listen to the feedback? What is favorable? What is not liked? What do people appreciate? What is it that they don't like? What could you reduce? What could you add more of? And also, as a leader, an opportunity to share feedback also on what did you do well? What can you do better? So when a leader creates an environment where that information can flow from whichever direction, then people move from their silos. People stop trying to look safe. And by that, everybody is present to the moment. It's present to the goal, present to what needs to get done, because they don't fear to be promoted. They don't fear to be ashamed or degraded. Then they can show up as they are. And I think that's the greatest gift a leader can have with a team. Because in that moment, you can shape people, you can develop them, you can guide them to the next level because they are in your arms, because you have created an environment that allows them to be. So with that, it's easier to solve problems, it's easier to deal with mistakes. Why? Because people don't fear that if they make mistakes, there'll be troubles. Why? The environment is safe for people to risk, for people to try. And they're sure, should a mistake come, it will be treated the way you have always treated them, with your blind spots and with your weaknesses. Toastmasters and guests, leadership is not about self. Leadership is about your members. And being in a moment where you allow them, you see them, but allow them to make steps towards a higher journey with your strengths, towards a different life with your blind spots and weaknesses. You're helping them grow, and you're serving not only you, the organization, but you're also serving your team. And I challenge us today because we are all leaders. We are leading in our personal lives, in our organizations, in our social circles, and everywhere we go, including Toastmasters, that if we embrace serving others, the benefits trickle back to us, not because we were seeking the benefits, but as a byproduct of what we have sowed seeds to us. So the quality of work life, productivity, cursed. You know, there's a curse that I don't like to work on, nagging cursed. And if you've worked with nagging cursed, you know how costly that can be, both for work and for the team that you have. So when you have done the front job well, then the back job just flows with you, and you can be of value to yourself and to the organization. So I challenge all of us to go out there and be of service to our team members. Remember that our work is not ourselves first. It is our team first. I leave you with the words of the U.S. Senator Sam Jr. Irving, who says, "A person who is worthy of being a leader wants power, not for himself, but in order to be of service." Back to you, Toastmaster.
Wonderful. That was all about service and what service can do for us. And I'm inspired. I'm reminded of a quote, and now I know I normally say don't quote these four people that are always being quoted by Toastmasters every time they stand to speak. But today, I am going to share this particular quote by Martin Luther King Jr. Nicole, take notice. Yes, I know you're smiling. So, it is in the chat. Please read. And this is what reminded me of Wahiga Gichinga. It's an amazing quote. And I loved, when I first started my personal development more than 30 years ago, this was one of the quotes that I read over and over again. It's in the chat. Please have a read. Thank you very much for telling us all about service and what it means to you. And thank you for remembering the presentation you attended a couple of weeks ago and mentioning that here as well. With that, ladies and gentlemen, my role, I did play a role, but I was here, hopefully, you tell me whether I was present or I was just performing. Let me know in the chat. I would like to ask our timer to post the timing in the chat as well at this time. And I will ask the Zoom master, Paramjit Singh, thank you very much, a man of great service to this club, to launch the poll. Then while he's launching the poll and we're going through the poll, please, of course, vote for the best effort speaker. And if I was to vote, I would vote for every one of them. What an excellent job from Nelly Jane to Rashmi, who raised the toast, which was part of a level 3 project, and Lydiah Wanjiku, Irene Sadia, Joyce Kibe, Wahiga Gichinga. I don't know who to vote for. You tell me who you're going to vote for, and we'll find out at the end when they report back, when the presiding officer, Toastmaster, reports back. Okay? So, the poll is up. Please go ahead, and I will now begin my handing over process. But before I do hand it back to the presiding Toastmaster, I will leave you with this one thought. You don't have to be elected as a president. You don't have to have a DTM. You don't need to be the vice president of education. You don't need to be an international president. You don't need to be the CEO of an organization. You don't need to have honors degrees. This is an inspiration from Martin Luther King's speech, right? Exactly the same words. And I live by those. And that's why I tell people, and you'll never see me put DTM behind my name. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the presence. So it doesn't really matter who you are, where you are, what station you have, what certificate you have, what title you have, what labels that you love putting behind your name. In the end, it really doesn't matter, because what really matters is how will you serve with your heart. Bring excellence and high standards to the table and lean in to connect with other human beings. That's what really matters. And with that, you will lead and leave a legacy, as our education speaker has said. I loved what she said. And with that, I'll now hand this over to your presiding Toastmaster. If you can spotlight her next to me. Gilda is, of course, the club secretary, and she didn't have a speaking role, but she had a major role starting and finishing this whole meeting. And she tells me, from Turkey, so I'm always joking with her about kebabs. But she lives currently between Houston and Calgary, and right now she is in Calgary enjoying the Stampede and soccer on the TV, or football. Over to you, Gilda.
Thank you, Brahm. And you asked the question, did you make a present? Our guest, please write in the chat box to Brahm if he did make a present or not. Our guest, please stay around. I'm sure you are like every other member. We have so many takeaways, and I would love to chat with you at the end of the meeting, getting your feedback. And now, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, our educational speaker, and all the speakers for the outstanding, amazing speeches and takeaways for all of us when you spoke today in this meeting. We go now to the next session, which is the feedback, evaluation. And our general evaluator for this meeting is none other than our immediate past president, Holmes Tang. But let me tell you what Holmes said. Evaluation is the hallmark of excellence and the catalyst for growth. Self-directed leaders do not wait for feedback. They pursue it. They demand honest, insightful, and challenging observation that sharpen their thinking, raise their standards, and accelerate their development. The general evaluator sets the tone to the process, equipping evaluators to deliver feedback that strengthens every speaking role and evaluates the learning of every member present. Today's meeting theme is legacy leadership. It's powerful lens through which to evaluate. Legacy is forged through the standards we refuse to lower, the feedback we have the courage to give and receive, and the commitment to improve beyond today's performance. What we evaluate reveals what we value. What we improve defines the legacy we leave. Self-directed leaders look beyond today's success toward tomorrow's potential, knowing that leadership is earned through disciplined, continuous growth. Holmes is the immediate past president of Leadership Speak and a project manager by profession. He is passionate about developing leaders who think independently, embrace accountability, and pursue excellence with intention. He believes every evaluation should strengthen not only the speaker, but also the standard, culture, and legacy of the club. Please help me welcome our General Evaluator, Holmes Tang. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Toastmaster. Members, as well as guests. Each and every Toastmaster meeting must have evaluations. And in most cases, open evaluations. This is for learning. Not only learning for the speaker, which in leadership context, we demand a partnership with the evaluator. This is why, as you have heard, when the Toastmaster of the day calls on each of the speakers, he not only calls the speaker, he calls for the evaluator to introduce the project. And in the process of doing so, evaluators are expected to say what specifically about the project or what specifically about the growth of the speaker wants to focus on for his or her growth. It's the same for self-directed leadership. Leadership is not something that you just become out of a sudden. It is not something that we were born with also. It is a process that we need to go through. And the most effective way to learn something as profound as leadership, self-directed leadership especially, is to have a community to support you. And this community is not about spoon-feeding you. It's about challenging you. It's about pointing you to the right directions. It's about each other doing our best to be fellow role models in terms of the learning process to be better self-directed leaders. What does this mean for each of us here as we move into the evaluations? The evaluations is a modeling process whereby we listen out for what are the evaluators actually valuing when they listen to a communicator. If you want to improve your own evaluation, also think, to what extent would you say something the same? Would you even focus on the same things for those speakers? Write your own notes. And I highly encourage you, members and guests, send also your comments, be it for the speaker or for the evaluator, in the meeting chat. And especially if you know guests, if you know some of the members, text them personally. And for members, it is expected that you will be reaching out to other members to share your feedback. In the evaluation segment, I'll be calling out each evaluator from the evaluator of the toast all the way to the evaluator of the fourth speaker. After each evaluation, I will give a brief 1-minute evaluation of the evaluator, before moving on to the next. I will end off my evaluation section with a general evaluation of the entire meeting. And I'll call upon the first evaluator, Sandra Vox, who will be evaluating the toast. Sandra says, if we lead confidently and passionately and skillfully engaging our team, legacy will follow. Sandra, share with us your feedback for the toast.
Thank you. And thank you, Rashmi. Look at you, look at you, look at you. Relaxed and smiling and passionately reaching through to me, even through Zoom. Now, the purpose of the toast, of course, is to celebrate and speak to the theme of the gathering, which today is legacy leadership. And Rashmi asked me particularly to watch for her confidence, which really has blossomed. It was beautiful, standing there and just filling and claiming her space. Rashmi, you did a great job there. And delivering impactful and meaningful toast. I have to tell you, you had it organized so well, you were relaxed, and I know that we talked about this in the past, about individual words. For once, on down towards about 2/3 of the way through, you were starting to be word by word and pumping that word by word. But for the first 2/3 or even 3/4, you were in the flow. You've practiced taking a phrase and putting it into a flow. And it showed. Your toast flowed through and was meaningful to me. The voice of our quarterly magazine, reflection of the club, which is really a good way to bring what you've done in your own club into Leadership Speak as well. It's not just a one-way path. Leadership doesn't know everything. We learn from our guests and from our people bringing in their club experience. And it was really excellent to have the dare, elevate, and shine. That stood out for me. Dare, elevate, and shine. So here's a gift over to Leadership Speak from another club through the reflection of a member who's stepping up to the plate and experimenting and using Toastmasters as the laboratory it's meant to be. Rashmi, you did that beautifully. You spoke about the voice of our quarterly magazine, ways to honor members of your club. And every time you were doing that and pulling it in, I could see how it was a gift to Leadership Speak. And by delivering that gift to Leadership Speak, we're able to take it out to our own community clubs. The gift flows through. And that's what you delivered today. It was powerful. And as you listen to the replay, you're going to just get more and more flow. When you listen to your replay, do it with just listening. And then another time, do it with just the sound off and just watching. And you'll see when your hands beating out the flow were this way, and when it was word for word for word, you'll see. These recordings are gold, absolute gold. But overall, I was so impressed. I really look forward to hearing you again. Don't ever quit stepping up to the plate. Blessings, Ashmi. Back to you, GE.
Sandra, you mentioned to me that your evaluator learning was focused on whether you were encouraging at the same time. What are some of the useful feedback that you want to be useful to the speaking role? Encouraging part is a definite yes. You started with an empathetic voice. Look at you, look at you, look at you. You connected with the speaker, and I would not only say the speaker, but with all the audience, myself included. For this part, you've done it throughout the entire evaluation at different portions, repeating and emphasizing with great tonality about your empathy. Where I would challenge you is that there were some terms and words that you use. For example, great job there, impactful toast, and you ended the point there without elaborating. What exactly was the greatest part or the most impactful part for you? You were moving slightly around in the encouragement, and then towards your listen, as you encourage the toast, Rashmi, to listen again. I was hoping for one or two things in which you will point out what do you imagine Rashmi would gain out of that listening. Although I'm sure you will continue your conversation with Rashmi in private, as well as encourage her learning further, this leaves a bit of suspense for us audience who are not part of the picture. Perhaps in your future evaluation, you could share some of the little secrets that you have with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next evaluator is Hannah Smith, who will be evaluating our Toastmaster of the day. Hannah says, Leadership Speak has established a legacy that it will continue to maintain. And I definitely agree with Hannah. Let's hear from Hannah and the feedback for the TMOD. Hannah, over to you.
Homes, guests, and Brahm. The WhatsApp group for this meeting was formed early, allowing all speakers and role players to connect swiftly and work together efficiently. And this was clear as the agenda was completed well ahead of schedule. It is truly a recommendable achievement. Well done. Congratulations. And the agenda, if you notice, has been updated to include a new presiding Toastmaster role, which consolidates several previously separated roles. Brahm has requested that all role players remove their titles and display only their names. And this emphasizes our unity as a family without titles. The engaging word of the day, stewardship, fosters trust and care among leadership members. Brahm has invited the visitors to sign the guest book and encourage them to join, warmly also welcoming returning members, all of which fosters a sense of belonging to this family, Leadership Speak. Brahm excelled deliberately fostering a welcoming atmosphere for both role players and speakers, because before the speakers gained that momentum to speak, he invited everyone to share a brief thought on the theme legacy leadership. And this provided enough background to help them feel comfortable. And this remarkable and effective approach broke the ice, eased the nervousness, and encouraged participants to contribute with confidence. On our Thursday training sessions, Brahm invited to verbally announce that his goals are being comfortable to make mistakes and getting on with it, connecting with the guests. And connecting is the key word to learn accountability and responsibility quickly. I close off with these words: unbuckle your seats as we advance into the 5th year of Leadership Speak, concentrating on developing a legacy of self-directed leaders who align with our mandate, leaving a lasting impact. Holmes?
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Zoom Master. Where I appreciate about Hannah is that she has given us a whole list of things to watch out for, that Brahm has planned for, that Brahm is doing, not only as the TMOD, but also as keeper of the vision. Members and guests, I just want to emphasize on this term again, that in this particular year ahead, we do not have a club president per se, but we have a presidential team, which is guided by keeper of the vision. Hana then has a difficult role in identifying all the things which I also believe requires emphasis in the club. And I'm thankful that Hana has emphasized many of these things. Where I would hope Hana may have done slightly differently is that since she has 3 minutes to emphasize on what are the key things that we can learn from Brahm's role today as the Toastmaster of the day, or perhaps where some of the things that she might recommend to Brahm and for all of us to think about. Perhaps she could have mentioned, as Brahm did earlier, that there was one part about a particular name that Brahm acknowledged. I didn't know who was doing this, and he happily acknowledged it, gracefully acknowledged it, and moved on. Hana may also challenge members and guests to consider how Brahm has interacted with the guest. Who are the people that were interacted? Why is it that Brahm could have done this? Was there something that we can all learn from? Was there something that she might have hoped Brahm could do differently? In this case, collectively as leadership speak, members and guests, we may then together learn how TMODs, the standards of TMODs, not only can be upheld, but also held higher. Thank you, Hana. Our next evaluator is Jyoti Thomas. She says, the greatest legacy a leader can leave is supporting someone to grow. As evaluator, she has the privilege of doing that this evening. Jyoti, let's hear from you your feedback for our educational speaker. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Nelly, do I sing the song, Where Do I Begin? Evaluating your speech. It is so befitting to the new term. This year, when we start, you had everything beautifully packaged, legacy leadership. What I really loved about it is you did not start describing or giving a definition about legacy leadership, but you beautifully and naturally wove it into a story, and you had us all feeling curious about it. Become the person you once needed. What a powerful anchoring statement. You used that more than 5 times. More than 5 times, I can't even count. You straight away asked, we always hear at Leadership Speak, what's in it for the audience? 5 to 7 minute speech. But today your speech was close to 18 minutes. And what did you give us? It was packaged beautifully. Within 2 minutes, I felt, and I'm sure the others will also agree, you brought in the spirit and what Leadership Speak stands for. You kept me asking when you said, what is the takeaway? The audience is already asking, what is the legacy I'm creating today? Am I helping somebody grow? Will people remember my position or my impact? This is truly a great outcome for a keynote. So there clearly, you excelled in the audience engagement. When you asked that story, would your name be part of their stories? That immediately made me shift and think, you reflect, is it on my leadership journey or everybody else's? You left us at the end with a challenge, the power of 3, where you mentioned, don't wait to be a president. Don't wait for experience. The 3 times you mentioned that. What can I say for recommendations? that will just be not right. Because for a keynote, we don't use the regular recommendation. But what I would have loved to see is you had this beautiful musical voice, soft. So there were times when you stepped back, I was not able to hear you. And that dipped when you came softly saying, I wish you can raise that. Memorable quotes, particularly, would you be part of somebody's story? To summarize, I would say you left us with a message, the challenge that you said, don't wait. I think overall the speech for the opening for 26-27, you gave a little handbook to say, this is the recommendation, go ahead and use it. And I truly enjoyed the 17 minutes. Thank you, Nelly. You made me feel inspired. You definitely left a legacy and encouraged. Thank you, and over to the General Evaluator.
Jyoti, in your learning goal, you mentioned about observing 3 key points and delivering them respectfully. I'm going to just challenge you, Jyoti. At your stage, you're beyond this. Where I would be expecting you and demanding from you is, how can you extract out the key points of the key message of the speech, and then for each of them, evaluate the effectiveness. And when I say evaluate the effectiveness, that would mean it's definitely not perfect. What was effective and what can be done better for 2 to 3 key areas, which in my mind, I'm pretty sure you noted it down somewhere in your notes, but in today's verbal elaboration, I don't hear the format of, you did this, this was effective, you could have done this, which would have brought out your key message in a much better way, which is that. Thank you, Jyoti. Our next evaluator is Helene Pamok. She says, she believes that the greatest legacy a leader can leave is not personal recognition, but the confidence, the opportunities, and the growth that the leaders can inspire in others. Let us hear from Helene on her feedback for the first speaker. Helene, over to you.
Thank you very much, Yi. Lydia, I truly enjoyed your speech because you reminded us that while data informs our minds, stories connect with our hearts. Your opening was excellent by asking us to remember the phrase once upon a time. You immediately engaged the audience and created a shared childhood memory. It was interactive, nostalgic, and an effective way to draw everyone into your message. Another strength was your storytelling. I love a lot the story about the woman in Galido. I remember that word was vivid, authentic, and emotionally powerful. Rather than simply telling us that listening is important, you demonstrated it through a real-life example. The lesson that organizations should listen to people's stories before designing solutions was memorable and meaningful. I was thinking about suggestions for you, and I think suggestions is to strengthen your conclusion. Instead of ending with a question about the goal, consider finishing by returning to your opening. For example, you could end with something like, perhaps the most powerful word are still once upon a time? Because every great leader leaves behind a story worth telling. You're bringing the speech full circle, so would leave the audience with an even stronger lasting impression. And one more observation, I noticed that your virtual background sometimes did not allow to see your hand movement. Yeah, like my hand right now. You can see I lost my hand. You might consider using one with better construct during your speeches. Yeah, I think that would make your gestures more visible and enhance your overall impact. And overall, Lydia, your speech was inspiring and relevant. You reminded us that leadership begins with listening and that every person's story has the power to teach, connect, and transform lives. Thank you for sharing your story, and I look forward to hearing your next speech. GE, back to you.
Aline, you wanted to strengthen your observation skills through identifying key aspects of the speaker's strengths as well as recommendations that you have. Where I want to push you further, Aline, is that when you have observations and you identify strengths and weakness, for both strengths as well as weakness, you need to explain why they are strengths and weakness. You did well in terms of the recommendations, but even for strengths, add some elaborations. I would also like to challenge you for each of the explanation. Don't just mention that it will have greater impact. Mention the specific impact based on the key message that you have obtained from the speaker. This would especially be powerful and on the point when you add on together with the conversations that you have with the speaker before as well as after the meeting. Evaluation, after all, is a partnership, and partnership continues. Thank you, Aline. Our next evaluator is Robin Stone. Robin has been a Toastmaster for a third of his life, and he's here. He would like to impart his own learning over to other Toastmasters. Let us hear from Robin and his evaluation for the second speaker. Robin, over to you.
Thank you so much, for that. And I'm going to evaluate Irene's speech, which was also using storytelling. I need to tell you something, and I'm just talking to Irene for a moment, that despite my long history in Toastmasters, I have never, until now, been VPPR. And it's always because I've said to myself, I can't. And this year, eventually, I said, I can. And so your speech actually spoke directly to me. And this is an important point because part of what you were trying to do is the project is actually connect with storytelling, and it's connecting with the audience. And not only were you doing that, but you were doing that in a very personal way that I could personally relate to. I really appreciated that about this presentation. You did so many things here. You tied it into the theme of legacy leadership. You brought in the idea of stewardship, and you sort of gave us some very real issues. You obviously have thought through this, that you've realized that we don't lead alone, and I've realized that too, and that's why I'm going for it. And you've asked the sort of basic questions we always ask. How did I find out about this club or any club? or anything really, and what is the gap between the impact that it has on me and those who need similar? And I think that's important, and coming down to the idea of changing somebody's life. Now, here's the issue. You asked me to look at your structure, and you will have noticed by now, you spoke for nearly 10 minutes. But here's the thing. You could have finished in time. And I think it was because you didn't know, in this instance, how to finish. I was trying to work out what your takeaway was, and I had several. I think personally, I would have taken one of them, the one idea, the invitation. Come and build with us. Come and build this club with us, and let's create a legacy here. I think that would have given you a strong conclusion, and it would have been in time. And this is what we would have remembered. And so that is the best feedback I think I can give you at this point in time. But thank you. Once again, you spoke to me. Well done. Back to you, Holmes.
Robin, I'll say something as the past president first, then something as the general evaluator. Based on the first 1 minute or so of the things that you said, I'm expecting you to be joining the PR committee or contributing heavily to the PR committee. So do reach out, do connect, all right? The PR committee does not just require people who are experts in PR. The vision of the club, which Irene has emphasized for this year for PR, is that we all become club ambassadors. And Robin, I'm very certain you, as well as all members here, have sufficient stories, have sufficient experience to be able to become a club ambassador. Please reach out to Irene. Now as GE. Robin, you wanted to focus on what you call lightening up and smile. And I acknowledge I'm one of the people in the club who have encouraged you and challenged you to go in this area, because we have been noticing your facial expression as you give feedback in previous chapter meetings as well as members only meeting. For today's evaluation, I confirm that I see an effort in lightening up, in trying to be more emotional in terms of how you connect with the speaker. And I want to affirm and confirm you that there is progress in this area. Where I would suggest and even challenge you is that not only to think of this in terms of lightening up a bit in terms of communication, but even have a little bit of fun. Enjoy the process of sharing your stories, sharing your experiences, sharing your insights to the speaker. And from there, where I'll be expecting is not just the smiles from you, but also a great variety of emotions, a great variety of different aspects of you coming out. Because it is all these things when we share, when we allow others to know about us of these different aspects, that our impact on other people become deeper and deeper. An encouragement for you, Robert. Our next evaluator is Nicole Whyte. Nicole says, legacy leadership sets the stage for ongoing successes. It is an honor to be part of a community that sees its value. Let us hear from Nicole and her evaluation, her feedback for the third speaker. Nicole, over to you.
Joyce, you delivered an inspiring and persuasive speech today. Your core message was crystal clear, which is accountability is non-negotiable. And I'm going to mention the 3 areas that you excelled in. First, your flawless structure. Your title, The Power of Hidden Accountability, perfectly anchored your message. And your opening was brilliant, starting with the negative stigma surrounding or around accountability. Then you instantly pivoted to redefining it as responsibility and power, and you went on. And then you walked us through how accountability builds trust, drives decision, and gives us control over our lives. And we followed you through because at some point you used count, or you said, and then another, or you said, or third. And to round it all out, your conclusion summarized your message perfectly by reminding us that accountability is ultimately the key to trust, growth, and success. Second, your commanding Zoom presence. Woo! I'm so elated because I know this is something you have been working on and trying to ace over for the past several months, and I'm so proud. You delivered with absolute confidence. Your framing was superb, and your pacing was deliberate with eye contact, much improved. You were looking in the camera. Those are some exemplary pointers. You completely aced the specific mechanics you wanted me to test today. And your conviction was palpable because especially when you paired your words with powerful body language, at one point you showed us physically how to brush ourselves off and get back up. And we saw you full frame. Well done. Third, your mode of delivery. You didn't just speak for the sake of delivering a speech and talking to us. No, you genuinely connected with us. You asked excellent reflective questions. For example, when you asked us if we have an accountability partner, so important. You paused intentionally and actively acknowledged the particular response that you received. I believe it was from Brahm. So that was good pacing. Just an area of improvement to take your executive presence even further. The technical recommendation is regarding your virtual lighting. At times, the reflection from your ring light was visible, which can slightly distract from the excellent eye contact you maintain throughout your speech. So if you adjust the angular height of the light, that will ensure nothing distracts from your facial expression and connection with your audience. In summary, Joyce, this was an excellent delivery. You shared rich content, showcased a professional executive presence, and a powerful call to action, reminding us that accountability keeps us going. Fine-tune that lighting placement, and your virtual stage command will be unstoppable. I'm looking forward to your next speech. Back to you, G.
Nicole, you wanted to ace delivering critical thinking evaluations. The first aspect of such evaluations is structure. You must identify a very clear direction where you want to head. And this direction is set by the speaker. What is the key message of the speaker that you obtain? You laid out clearly. And then you have to lay 2 to 3 key points, which is all the time you have in 3 minutes to evaluate. You did that. Where I want to push you and challenge you further is that after you identify the key message, in this case, accountability is non-negotiable. Then for each point that you identify, there needs to be a continuous why. You identify this as good. What exactly is it? You explain this part. You give examples. So why is this so important to the key purpose? Why is executive presence important for someone who wants to talk about accountability, for example? Where I challenge you, which I think you would already, I'm confident you would already, as you go back to re-listen to your evaluation, break it apart, listen it in segments, independent segments. Do each of the independent segments clearly identify what is the key message? And what is it that audiences who are listening to you would then take away as, yes, next time when I want to talk about accountability, I better do this. or I better don't do this. Is this clear? For your consideration. Thank you, Nicole. Our next evaluator is Rozy Rana. Past medley distinguished district director, the founding district director of District 114. And she says leaders should be remembered for their service and for the impact and growth they make on others. That's legacy that we are talking about here. Let's listen to Rozy for her feedback for the fourth speaker. Rozy, over to you.
Thank you, Holmes. Thank you, GE. Wahiga, I truly appreciate your insightful presentation today, packed with nuggets, both on leaders and how they should be, as well as team leadership. The title was profound. The heart of leadership is service. This immediately set the expectation and tied into today's theme that leadership is less about authority and more about service and legacy. I thought your opening was particularly powerful because you referred to impact that leaders make, asked us about it, but then moved quickly to two stories with contrasting styles. One, a not so authentic or not so service-like leader, and then you took time to speak about Mary, and the way you described her genuine commitment to helping others meet their goals truly demonstrated that what servant leadership looks like in practice and what inspired you. So I really liked that. And I liked you wanted to be natural. And so I liked that you were, delivering stories rather than going straight into the script, and you spoke from your heart. And that was like, it worked really well. And then came the nuggets. And again, you were not just simply saying what was on your slide. You built context around everything you were saying. And you had some memorable phrases which were not even on your slides, but things that we will take away. The ones I particularly must stress or that I will take away is trust is the glue that holds a team together. Leadership is not about power. Leadership is not about putting ourselves first, but putting our teams first. And then these are powerful because they all speak to that profound title, service and the like. They are truths we will take away with. Now, in terms of my suggestions to elevate this presentation is, yes, I said your opening was powerful because you started with a story. That said, what took away was the fact that what we could see straight on the screen was your title, leadership and service, throughout those stories. I really wish if you do not have the PowerPoint capabilities of being central on the screen, bring it in later. I wish we could see you. I wish you could have engaged us as you told the stories, because you were sort of on the side and we were reading your slide throughout service and leadership. So I really would suggest that. Secondly, because you spoke about Mary and you spoke about her as a servant leader, your slides were largely about leaders' values, as well as team leadership. But you had an opportunity to bring Mary in, to make it relevant, because that stood on its own as a story, and then everything else came as the nuggets. If you brought that in and tied it together, that presentation would have, moved away from being just a basic script to being or basic nuggets to really tying that story. I think that would have added a lot. But in summary, Wahiga, thoughtful, well-organized, clearly and confidently delivered. You demonstrated fantastic understanding and give context on servant leadership and team leadership as well. Your message resonated strongly. So thank you for reminding us that leaders are those who empower others. Elevate it by tying in, bringing in with a beautiful close, the front and the end. Thank you very much, and back to you, Holmes. Oh.
Rozy, you mentioned that your focus today is giving comprehensive feedback and meeting speaker learning objectives. I definitely agree in terms of content. You were very rich, and you mentioned in various areas how Wahiga could become a better speaker, a more natural speaker. Where I'd like to challenge you is that when looking at the concept or the paradigm of comprehensive feedback, comprehensiveness is not just about the content, but also about the overall presence that we give. Through social media, I was blessed with the opportunities of seeing you live. And today, unfortunately, we have much less of you than what you would typically have if this was delivered on site. And I look forward to some of your future meetings where you will be able to deliver your whole self as part of the comprehensive feedback to our members as well as guests. Thank you, Rozy. Having invited all the evaluators to share their feedback for the different speaking roles, I'd like to have the timer to share with us the time taken by each of the evaluators. I would also like to invite the Zoom master to launch the Zoom poll for the best effort evaluator. I'd like to emphasize a bit because we have a number of guests here. We are not asking for who did the best, but we are asking for, in terms of the entire evaluation, the effort that's taken to give that evaluation, or for members who know the evaluator closely over time, the kind of improvement that is delivered and demonstrated. Who then puts in the most effort? And it's inspiring you in terms of keeping to the standards, living the standards, and even uplifting the standards that we have collectively as a club. Vote for this speaker. Vote for this evaluator. While members and guests continue to vote, I also like to invite the grammarian who was previously already introduced by the TMOD to share her grammarian report. Over to you, grammarian Gada.
Thank you, Holmes. Thank you. So I encouraged all speakers to use stewardship, but I've heard like 3 or 4 times for this word usage, Nelly, Irene, and of course, Brahm. However, all speakers used the definition or the meaning of stewardship included in their speeches. I'd like to share some ideas, sentences, and some quotes from the speakers, like became for them what someone become for them, what someone became for you, and also multiply it. During our stories, we talk about problems without a name and find solutions. Start with courage, not with confidence. Reality arrived. Grow into the role. And also, walk over the side of service. Here I like also accountability. Also, it is hidden, but has out impact. Championing their success. Thank you for all your effort. Back to you, G.
Gada, you mentioned that you want to practice highly active listening as well as organization of ideas. The practice of active listening, it's something that you will be able to do as long as you're an evaluator, which I encourage all members here to be evaluators, even if you're not assigned, and you take down notes and you try to express it in a way that is encouraging as well as pushing the speaking role or the community to do better. A suggestion for grammarians in terms of organization. Gada, you have taken many notes. I'm sure you have more things on your notes than you did able to express in the 2 minutes. Where I suggest you is to find themes. The themes can be, what is the linguistic tools that's being used or not used? For example, are we using a lot of similes? Maybe not. Are we using a lot of analogies, for example? Stories, what kinds of stories? How do we tell those stories? These are different themes. The linguistic themes. The other way is the language used more of inspiring? What is the impact and the emotions that it triggers with you? So that when audiences wants to trigger similar emotions or similar impact in the audience, they know these are the list of words we can use. And I can confirm that at least one member actually brought books specifically just to find those words. And grammarians and future grammarians, this is something that you can give to all members. Identify what words are powerful for what context and share with us in the club. Thank you, Gada. I now move into my general evaluation. Members and guests, this is the first meeting of the year of 2026-2027. And I want to start off as the immediate past president to express that I'm very proud of all the members who are here. Even if you are not speaking, even if you're watching the YouTube recording, either live or at a later date, I'm very proud of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for continuing this journey. And your presence sends a strong signal that you are here because you want to be a better self-directed leader. And hence, in everything that you do, strive for excellence. Excellence not only in the way that you understand it at that current point of time, but also expanding your boundaries, exposing yourself to higher standards, and striving for that. It is with this thinking and this approach that I share my following feedback. To those who are going to be presiding Toastmasters, I highly encourage you to attend as many meetings as possible. And when I say attend meetings, I don't mean come 9:30 Eastern Time sharp and then stay until 12 noon sharp and log off. That's not what I mean. When I say attend meetings, I mean be present at 9 o'clock, 30 minutes before the meeting, and continue to stay when your time allows, all the way until the post-meeting ends. Why? Because when you become the presiding Toastmaster, you are in charge of greeting the guests. You are in charge of helping the club recruit the guests into the members. You're in charge of interacting with the guest. Hence, it's extremely awkward if a guest has been here for at least half a year, even if it is just 2 or 3 meetings. And even worse, if you fail to recognize a new member. And I will be very blunt here. I have been meetings where in this club, some of these mishappenings happened. Let us stop this from happening as much as possible. I know it will continue to happen because from time to time, we will have members who needs to be away from the club for a while and after that return. So there will be some awkwardness. But where we come here is that as much as possible, try to understand what has been going around. And for members who do need to be away for a while, we do have a community. Why not also check in? What are some of the people, what are some of the notable events that have happened before and after the club, so that the presidential team as a whole is a united front that can represent the club in meeting with the guest. That is my first point. Be present and be well aware what is happening in the club, including those that are not recorded on WhatsApp, in the groups, and not recorded on YouTube. Know what is happening behind the scenes. Number two, as we talk about the club in different aspects, they are the rules part of things. There are the expectations and aspirations part of the things. They are also the stories part of the things. And each of these aspects requires that we be able to speak about them with different kinds of empathy. So the expectations would be members and guests, by attending this Zoom meeting event, you accept da-da-da-da-da. Members and guests, I boldly claim to you that all of you here are here because you want to become better self-directed leaders, and you sign up for it. Members, as well as guests, I want to acknowledge that there are things that we could have done better. But as you know, and this demands that fellow self-directed leaders, we master the different communication tools. This does not mean you magically know the communication tools. This means you deliberately, intentionally try over time. And this is why you not only need the evaluators that have been assigned to you, you need evaluators that you will personally look out for and reach out for. I know there are particular members, which I've already recognized in the previous meeting. Some of them, as continuously reaching out to different members. And if you look at the meeting chat today, there are some members who have spoken out a lot more than others. Members, the expectation is that all of us do it. Not one, not two, not three, but all of us share what are some of the things that we can all do better. And communication tools, communication techniques, intentionally choosing the best communication tools and mastering them is going to be an important aspect we all need to do together. I've spoken about attending and becoming aware. I've spoken about the communication tools. And the last part I would like to emphasize is members as well as guests, be very, very intentional about where you choose to be. And when I say where you want to choose to be, I don't just mean in Toastmasters. I want to complete 3 levels each year, okay? But how does that impact your life? Be very intentional about where you want to be. And this is the value of where this club will be. Self-directed leadership starts with yourself, your goals. And Leadership Speak is an experimental ground where you try out different things to become the self-directed leader you need for your life. We have heard from Brahm, we have heard from our executive committee about some of their aspirations, goals, and dreams for the club. And a key takeaway I hope all members and guests get out of today's meeting is then, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? Understand where the club wants to go, but match that to your own personal lives and see where the synergy goes. Leadership Speak is not a club of one person or one executive team. It is the club. It is a collective club by our present as well as our future members. So as a whole, may we live intentional, effective, and long-lasting legacy for the many years to come. With that, I'd like to hand back the time to our presiding Toastmaster, Gilda Schlah.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for your evaluations and your empowering our evaluators as well, and your general evaluation for the meeting in general. Dear members and guests, do you find yourself react to events? Or sometimes you get lost in uncertainty? We all have. Well, attend our next meeting next Saturday, July 11th. Our Toastmaster of the day will lead us with a theme, Lead with Vision. And that will provide you with the clear directions to inspire actions and align contributions to shared future with all. And with that, I would like to mingle with all the guests who are still here. I'm going to go into the gallery view and see who are... Okay, so I see Yvonne Codrington. Yvonne, are you there? Can you put your... Can we see your picture, Yvonne? Okay, well, I think we'll wait for Yvonne and let's see if I could spot other. Lydiah. Lydiah, do you? Lydiah? Do you? Can you hear me? Can you give us feedback? We'll wait for Lydiah as well. How about Nagla? Nagla, are you there?
Yeah, good evening. How are you, Toastmaster?
I'm doing excellent. How are you? And tell me, where are you zooming from? Where?
I'm coming from Dubai.
Oh, from Dubai, Nagla.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I remembered. I think we've seen you. I've seen you before. You've attended.
Once, yeah. This is my second time.
Yes, that's your second time. Well, we'd love to hear a feedback from you. Tell me, how did you enjoy the meeting today? Any
It was
takeaway
amazing.
for you?
It's almost 3 hours into the meeting now. And I started with you from the beginning because this is kind of like adding tolerance to the speeches. I wanted very much to join an international Toastmaster club to see different variety. And what I have seen today, it's amazing. Honestly, from all the Toastmasters from the beginning, Toastmaster of the day, the grammarian, the evaluation, the speakers, to be honest, different flavors that brought a new perspective for me. And you're talking about something which is really related to me, leadership legacy. And Toastmaster of the day, he said that this club will always address leadership, and this is something very tempting. It's the topic itself tempting for me. So I liked it very much.
Thank you. Did you fill in the guest book? Your information
I didn't.
in the guest book?
I didn't. But Toastmaster Holmes, him and I, we are in touch. My details with him. Therefore, I didn't add it today because it was added earlier, and plus he sent me all the details. So I'm very close to sign up with you. Yeah.
Well, we would love to have you as a guest all the time, and if you sign up with us, that's even better. Thank you. So you have filled in the guest book earlier, and we have the information. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Toastmaster Gilda.
Looking forward to you, Nagla.
Okay, so who is DTM2VH? DTM2VH, are you a guest? Okay. Well, I don't see any more guests, but I would like to talk to our newest member, Sadia. Sadia Master.
I'm here.
Yes, Sadia, tell me, any feedback? How did you find the first meeting you're attending with Leadership Speak as a member?
Lots of learning, trying to absorb how everyone is talking. So I'm trying to think, how am I going to fit in here? But I did learn quite a bit, especially the evaluation were amazing. And I'm looking forward to do my first speech soon. Over to you.
Well, we are looking forward to listening to your first speech as well and have you participate with full speed. Where are you zooming from, Sajida? Where do you live?
I'm in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Ah, okay. Well, that's wonderful. Wonderful. It's good to know that. Okay, so who else? Lydiah? Nduhili? DTM2VH? I don't think we have any more guests. So I would like to reflect as the presiding Toastmaster. I want to thank you all, our guests especially, for attending our meeting. And our next meeting, it's going to be led by many other self-directed leaders from the club under the theme Lead with Vision. And now I would like to reflect on what our theme is saying. Legacy leadership. What an amazing and suitable theme we started our year with. Leadership, legacy leadership. It's leading today with a vision. What's going to happen tomorrow? That's how legacy leaders look at this. Legacy leadership, it's not about the title or our rank or our status. It's about the impact that will outlast us even. Legacy leadership, it's about building people. It's not about the progress or building a progress for others. In leadership speak, we empower. We create system that others can carry on after us even. And that is one of our legacies at Leadership Speak. We share knowledge. We develop self-directed leader. Our educational speaker said it all. Legacy leadership is like planting seeds that will not be picked up by us. It will be picked up, harvested by others. Our legacy is not what we say. It's what we leave behind that keeps growing after us. Thank you all for listening to me. And with the power invested on me, I adjourn our meeting, our first meeting of this year. Thank you all. Our Zoom master, you may stop the recording.